the miracle morning is the most important part of my life. And not more than my kids or anything, but in terms of like my practices, my strategies for success, the miracle morning is what enables me to every single day ensure that I start the day in a peak physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual state so that I can be the best version of myself to go approach, whether it's Saturday morning with my family or it's Monday through Friday and going into work and impacting people in the best way that I can. That miracle morning is that anchor. And the beauty of it too is when you have a bad day, it's like usually for people, the bad day lingers and it goes into the next, into the next, into the next. Well, for me, it's like the miracle morning is a reset button every day.
Mhm.
When I created it was 2008. The reason it's called the Miracle Morning, quick story, I don't tell this all the time, which is like 2008, I was in debt, right? It was the Great Recession. My business was failing. My house was being foreclosed on. I had lost over half of my clients, half of my income. I was depressed. I was scared. I was using the 5-minute rule every day, but I was losing more clients. I'm like, I can't
Using
even.
it every day.
Yeah, I'm
You're
like,
like, bro, it's 5 minutes every
yeah,
5 minutes.
yeah, every 5 minutes, literally, that's like what it was. And I couldn't keep up. I'm like, can't change. It was out of control. So, and then a buddy of mine gave me advice to listen to this Jim Rohn audio. I'm like, I need help, dude. I'm struggling. He goes, listen to this Jim Rohn audio. It changed my mindset, changed my life. I was like, all right, I'll try it. And so I listened to this audio, and Jim Rohn said, your level of success, and the context was in any area of life,
Mhm.
your level of success will seldom exceed your level of personal development. And when he said that, I might have heard the quote before, but like it hit and I rewound it and I listened again. Your level of success. Okay. Level of success. And in my mind, I quantify things, right? So I'm like, all right, 1 to 10.
Yeah.
Level of success. I want 10. I want level 10 health, level 10 happiness, level 10 finances. I want level 10 success. Okay. My level of success will rarely exceed my level of personal development. So the question was like, and for anybody listening or watching, ask yourself this question. What level of success do you want? It's a 10. Nobody is like, I don't want to be too happy or healthy or successful, right? Everybody wants 10. But then what's my level of personal development? Because if it's not at a 10 in terms of my daily personal development rituals, routines, and habits, then my level of success is going to be pulled down by it. And at that time, I was like, my level of personal development is like a 2.
Hmm.
Like I'm in desperation mode. I'm like, I wake up, I go into my office, I just work until my eyeballs bleed, looking at the computer, calling people, and then I go to bed. And I just do that every day. And it's like, it's just exhausting. And so I wasn't engaged in personal development. And I think even for people that are, you have to ask yourself, are you reading the books and then implementing what you're reading? Or are you reading the books to read the books and then read the next book, right?
Vanity metric.
Yeah. And so for me, I was like, my level of personal development is at a 2, yet I want level 10 success. And if anybody's watching this on YouTube, like this is the disconnect, right? This is what we want. But if this is who we're being every day and who we're becoming, huge disconnect. We've got to develop ourselves into a level 10 version of who we are, who we aspire to be, with the habits, the mindset, the skill sets, the resilience to create that level 10 success. And so that was my epiphany. I went, I've got to go figure out what the world's most successful people do for personal development every day and do that. I got to model them. And I went home and I Googled, what do the world's most successful people do for personal development? And I was looking for like, what's one personal development practice? And I had a list of 6. It was meditation, affirmations, visualization, exercise, reading, and journaling. Meditation became silence. Journaling became scribing, and that became the savers because the voice of God was like, I was like, which one of these is the best? It depends on who you ask. Some people say it was the books they read that led to their success. Some say it was their affirmation. Some say it was their visualization. A lot of pro athletes are like, that's the key. That's how I won the championship. I saw myself doing it over and over, and then I lived into the vision. I'm like, what do I do? And the little whisper was like, dude, what if you did all of these? What if instead of picking one of the practices, you woke up tomorrow a little earlier, could be 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 60 minutes. Eventually it became an hour and even longer for me because there's so much juice from it. But what if you woke up a little earlier, Hal, and you did the 6 most timeless, proven personal development practices that not 1 or 2, but the world's most successful people in all walks of life, from millionaires and billionaires and CEOs to professional athletes, the world's most successful people have sworn by for centuries. These aren't new. These are timeless. These are proven. What if you did all 6 of them? That would be the ultimate personal development routine. And within 2 months and I wasn't a morning person, but I'm like, I got to change something. I got to change my life. Within 2 months of doing these 6 morning practices, I doubled my income at the height of the Great Recession. The economy was tanking, and everybody else was like, oh, business is failing. I can't get customers. But I applied all 6 savers. And it started with reading. I got a book called Book Yourself Solid by Michael Port, and how to book more clients. Then I put in my affirmations. I created the affirmations formula, right? Like, and within 2 months, I doubled my income. And I went to my wife in the hall. I can picture the moment. She's carrying laundry out of our bedroom. And I said, sweetheart, I just signed on 2 coaching clients. She goes, congratulations. I said, no, no, no. You understand. We've officially doubled our income in the last 2 months since I started that morning routine. It feels like a freaking miracle. And without skipping a beat, she goes, it's your miracle morning. I go, I like that miracle morning, but I didn't know the book.
Shout out Ursula.
Shout out Ursula, dude. And yeah, and she reminds me, she's like, I get half of all of this.
Yeah,
Right?
100%.
Yeah. But so I started writing my schedule every day, miracle morning, miracle morning. Then I'm like, I got to tell my coaching clients about this. And then that's how it's like one after another. They're like, oh my God, I'm not a morning person. Then they try it. They're like, I did your tricks. I moved the alarm clock across the room. I did the savers. It works. And then that's when I was like, well, if it worked for them, it worked for me. We weren't morning people. This is universally life-changing. I have to share it with the world. And that's what led to the book and the app and the movie and all the other, miracle morning attributes.
And now you've had how many millions of people do the miracle morning?
Yeah, I mean, with 3 or 4 million books sold, and when we have just on the app alone, we have what 30,000 daily users on the app. So I mean, yeah. So I mean, I know that it's a lot of people. I don't know the exact number, but yeah,
That's amazing.
it's in the millions.
How do you feel that morning routines have become a little bit perverted, in the media today? Because you have this side of it, and then you have the other side, which is, and granted, like, I need to go back to this.
Yeah.
Like, it's something that you should do.
Yeah,
And then you still wake up and you're like, all right, time to get to work.
yeah,
Like this morning I woke up and I was like, all right, cool, time to get to work. I'm prepping for Hal's interview and doing this and then doing this. All of a sudden, oh, there's an email.
Yeah.
I'm a business owner.
yeah,
And then it's like, wait, hold on a second. It's like, let's take the time here. But then you also see online where it's these people like this dude, Ashton Hall. I don't know if you saw his
oh
stuff.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, he's got like this crazy morning routine where he's like
Yeah,
puts his face in the ice and everything.
every minute of his morning routine.
and everybody's like kind of clowning him and
yeah,
and they're like, well, can you not have a good day if you don't do that?
Yeah.
And it almost becomes like sort of a crutch where it's like, okay, cool. If you don't do your morning routine, like, are you just going to fall apart and like,
Yeah.
just have this terrible day? So,
Like
what
that.
what would you say to people that are kind of like the opposite of that now in media where they're like, hey, cool, like I get that,
yeah.
but also it's just like, don't use that as your crutch. Like, keep going, just
Yeah.
do the work.
It's funny. There's one guy who has he's leveraged I won't say his name, but he's leveraged the Miracle Morning. He runs Facebook ads on like that speak specifically to the language that I use in the book, and he's like, you don't need a morning routine, just go to work. Like, it's basically the same thing. And so here's what I would say is, well, if you ask Miracle Morning practitioners, one of the questions I get a lot is, how many days a week should I do this, right? Like somebody that's brand new and starting out. Like, and most people, we've been conditioned to think you do things 5 days a week and then you do nothing 2 days a week, right?
Yeah.
And what happened, and that's how I started my Miracle Morning, Monday through Friday, and then sleep in Saturday, sleep in Sunday. And what happened is when I would do the Miracle Morning, again, it's putting you in a peak physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual state to start your day, right?
Nothing is more important.
Yeah. And so now you're not waking up at the last minute and going from groggy to trying to be productive. You're going from, I meditated and I got in a state of total relaxation and peace, and I cleared out any negative energy, right? I read my affirmations and I reminded myself what I'm committed to, why it's a must for me, and which actions I'm going to take today and why. Great. Now I have enhanced clarity, belief. I love what you said about how Tony's
State story strategy
fits into that, right? Step 1 of the affirmations formula. I am committed. What state? You're putting your state in a state of commitment, affirming I am committed to this, right? The story are the whys. Your story is, here's why this is so important to me, right? Nothing is more enriching of a story than like the meaning of why you're doing something. And then strategy. That's the third step of the affirmations formula. And I've never thought of it in this context. When you said it, I was like, it's the strategy. What are you going to do and when, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then
and
your
it flows in that order.
Yeah, exactly. Literally, yeah. It's wild. It's the exact same order. Maybe in my subconscious, I've followed Tony for years. There's probably somewhere in there was maybe that's.
Well, I mean, because of that, it's like you could tell it's a universal truth.
Yes, there
when
you go.
have 10 different people saying 10 different ways of the same thing,
That's
the
it.
same lesson. That's how you know
That's it.
that
Yeah.
it's truth.
Yeah.
It's not just opinion.
Truth is truth is truth is truth, right? What worked, 1,000 years ago works today.
Yeah.
And then, visualizing yourself performing at your best for the day, exercising, reading, like all of those things in the morning. What happens is you feel incredible, right? You take yourself from waking up, if you wake up and you're groggy at a 2, now you're at a 9 or a 10 going into your day. So that's the value of the morning routine. And then what happens is you sleep in on Saturday and you wake up at, whatever, a couple hours later than you normally would on the weekday. And you just roll into whatever's going on and you're like, why don't I feel as good as I normally do? Why is my mental clarity normally where it isn't? Why, like, and so most, myself included, most people, Miracle Morning practitioners will say, "Oh, I started at 5 days a week and now I do 7
Mhm.
because I feel better when I do it." And for me, I was talking to my son this morning on the way to school, and he said, "Hey, Dad, will you start waking me up early?" This was like music to my ears. He's 12 up to 13, Halston. We're driving to school this morning, and he says, um, "Dad, will you wake me up on Saturday at 7:30, like early?" And I said, "Yeah, why? How come?" He said, "I just want to start waking up on early on Saturday because I feel like I missed the whole morning." He goes, "Even if I lay in bed on Saturday, like at least I'm awake and I can relax and enjoy it instead of like waking up at 11 and then just having to get into something." I'm
Yeah.
like, and I literally told him this, pretty much this story. I go, "Hal, so that's why I do the miracle morning. And my favorite miracle mornings are on the weekends because I don't have the pressure of work, which for you would be the pressure of school. So yeah, I do a miracle morning. And then sometimes I do nothing for 2 hours, or I do a 3 hour miracle morning and I extend the meditation and the reading. And it's like just really Oprah Winfrey. I wrote this quote in the original Miracle Morning book. She said, I forgot her exact words, but it's something like, there's something special about waking up on a Saturday morning and working because you don't have the pressure that comes with the rest of the week."